Hey, so what's the matter, baby? Hey, gang. 8:07. I'm late. I'm sorry. So is the gas, but that wasn't Biden's fault, as it turns out. We'll talk about that. Cutting a special edition tonight because it's looking like I will be evacuating possibly as early as tonight. As many of you know, we're not supposed to be political in the arena of first responders and emergency services. Boom.
Wake up, goddammit!
Love that one. Tonight and every Tuesday and Thursday, I take part in a room that teaches me about broadcasting, teaches me about podcasting, teaches me about reaching out to you. That's why I'm here. If I didn't care about you, I wouldn't have relocated all this crap from a studio that I would never have made into a garage that's sweaty and hot, even with two air conditioners running. I would not be here. I would be out on my jet skis, especially with the waves that are out there right now. But no, tonight I was let down. As you know, daily I do a bit, a segment. It's when I say bit, it's nothing funny. I mean, sometimes we laugh about something, but it's not intended to be funny. It's a segment called Morning Motivation. I have a file on my desktop of the computer that is nothing but celebrities or mentors of mine or whoever who have said something intelligent, or maybe even it's a saying that nobody knows who said it. And believe it or not, I'm one of those celebrities. I say that tongue in cheek, but there is something that I say that I want to pass on to you. Right now, I have no idea what it is, but I'm on there. Just take my word for it. Earlier today, our celebrity was George W. Oh, Nate. My dog just busted ass. Yeah, I'm in a garage with two dogs, by the way. My kid's dog, too. The other day, we had Chester Bennington. I'll read you what he said. It's about gun violence. And I'm all 2A, by the way. But Chester said the other day, I mean, Chester's been gone for a number of years now, sadly. But his quote that meant something to me: there's a nonviolent way to express yourself and get your point across, regardless of what you're saying or what your point is. In a free society, people have a right to believe whatever they want to believe. That's their business, and they can speak their mind. But nobody, even in free society, has the right to take another person's life ever. That's something that we really need to move beyond. And of course, today's W statement, George W., they've misunderestimated me, when he kind of used a double there. Today, I don't know who said this, and right now I can't even find it. The voting rights one's going to become very relevant soon, too, obviously. But there's one about comfort. There we go. I won't be quiet so you can be comfortable. And there's actually a bunch that we're going to talk about today. In fact, I got to get that out. Open that one. And that one. Because we're going to talk about Marcus Aurelius, too. Me being the intellectual that I am. There's another one. I got to find the guy. I'm looking. Just give me a second here, folks. This is kind of an ad hoc show today, in case you haven't figured out. And as a result, I haven't been able to do some of the prep that I would normally have done. I'm just wondering if some of these are. I'm scrolling through, and I'm trying to find this guy that I know is in here, because I can't think of his name either. There he is. There he is. Oh, there he is. All right, let's go. So first of all, I will not be quiet, just so you can be comfortable. I've been that way for way too long. Way too long. It's just been crazy, and I'm not going to do that. Tonight, I was in this. It's a application or platform called Clubhouse. It's a social audio. I didn't even know that was a word. It's all social media. No, this is social audio, meaning that it is sound only. You can't share pictures. It's just basically, you know, those party rooms that you dial 1-800 and you got billed like $20 an hour just to hear some chick's voice that was probably fat and ugly and you were never going to meet anyway. That's what this is on social media for free. And I'm in this room run by this guy named John J. Wiley, who fancies himself like the Howard Stern of law enforcement radio. And I'm not going to mock his disability and his medical retirement, because he served just like anybody. He's no longer a cop for that reason. He medically retired long ago and got into radio as a new career. And there he is. He does this as like, I mean, it's a favor. He does it for free. Nobody pays for it, but nobody's forced to attend it either. Hit hint. And he finally started talking today's episode, today's class, today's call, whatever you want to call it. He finally started talking about Hurricane Milton. Now, keep in mind, Florida already got spanked by Debbie earlier in the season. He said nothing. Last week, I lost everything. Almost everything. clearly I didn't lose everything, or I wouldn't be having this microphone in my face right now. I was smart enough to hoard those things that are now my livelihood, like radio is also his. Artwork happened to be high enough on the wall that they were not affected by the flood, 4 feet of water. Secret Service, memorabilia, and accommodations, all also high enough such that they were not damaged. Most autographed books that I have were on a higher bookshelf, also salvageable. One autographed poster definitely has water damage, maybe a total loss. I'll see what I can do to prevent that. And, maybe just like an American flag that was in battle, that's framed and is now even more of old glory than if it was pristine. This poster was autographed by the entire cast and the director of Casino Royale, starring Daniel Craig. It was, as you know, his first James Bond movie. That may be a loss. I have another poster, um, like a theater poster, what would be in the window at a theater, signed by the cast of The Lion King. Also, possibly a total loss, definitely with some damage. My house needs to be rebuilt, and I'm smart enough, I think. The county agrees with me. Many contractors and architects I've talked to agree with my neighbors, think it's brilliant. I'm building up now. I'm not doing this again next year. So that's up to and including Helene of last week. Shout out to Sportcat Glenn Jackson, also of Bjork's Radio, who I hope does not have a show tonight because I've cut in to that time slot. If he does, I know you can get him tomorrow, 9 p.m. I think. For which one does he do on Wednesdays? It's not the Misfits. That's Saturday. Para or Normal Guys, where he talks about the paranormal every Wednesday night, 9 on Yerg's Radio and on his social media. But shout out to him because he's like, dude, get out of there. And I will. If anything was taught to me by Ms. Adalia of last year, it's I don't need to be here. I'm going to take the pooches. My kid is already at his girlfriend's since before Helene, so he's getting something. God love him. Gotta love them both. They're both good kids. I'm going to be a grandfather soon enough. But this room doesn't talk politics, so says Uncle John. Oh, you know what? I didn't start on. I hate this. When I go live on all of my social media platforms, I got to switch back over to Instagram to go live there and manually go live after I've manually gone live. I got to do it specifically for that one or it won't go live. So now everything I just said was not caught on Instagram anyway. And I have no camera right now. All the cameras are wrapped. They're $800 each. So they're wrapped up and put away. That's the, if you're just joining and learning about us, that is the logo for Mastiff Media. So I do this thing every Tuesday and Thursday. And I've learned from it. I've benefited from it. Not so much the networking. I think if he really thought I was capable of something or gave a shit, he would have helped me self syndicate, as we all call it, long ago. That didn't happen. Well, tonight, today, earlier today, tonight, this afternoon, in his show, I don't even know what they're called, in his show, in his episode, in his call, whatever it is, he was finally talking about what we can do on social media to help out those affected by a hurricane or whatever. And he was using, as an example, Hurricane Milton. And I figured out why. He admitted that he had done nothing on social media for Hurricane Idalia last year, Debbie earlier this year, or Helene last week. He's in southern Florida. Even Ian, 2 years ago, didn't really affect him because he's further south than Naples. So now Uncle Milty comes along and it's starting to curve. I don't want to call it the bend. I was going to call it Clinton Rooster of sorts because it has a bend in it. Presidential history joke. For those of you who know who Monica Lewinsky is. And now this thing is turning. It's going further south and sliding away from me. Even though I'm still going to get hit, I'm still going to evacuate. It's not going to be as bad for us on the northern side of Tampa Bay in the area called the Nature Coast. And it hit me the reason why he's saying, hey, you know what? We got to step up as broadcasters and reach out to our listeners is because he's one of the listeners we need to reach out to. Dude's about to get decked. So now all of a sudden, these are relevant. And one of the guys who's pretty useless, but he's there almost every week, says about how his church was one of the first, was the first on the ground in Tennessee. And before the room even got started, I saw the title that we're talking about Milton, and I'm like, where is this coming from? So we get into the room, we get going. And sorry, I've been talking like this every day. I'm seeing the people on WFLA, the weather channel that I follow, or the news channel with weather that I follow. They've got a hacking cough now. We've all got it. So I like, what's he going with, the whole Milton thing? Then this guy, Johnny, says about how his church was the first one to land in Middle Tennessee. And again, I'm thinking, so what? Did you go to Tennessee to be the first one there? Or did you go to Tennessee to save lives? And he then breaks out into a diatribe about how you would have thought we were declaring war and this, that, and the other thing. I don't remember exactly what he says. I really don't care. But essentially, long story short, he's blaming the response on the Biden administration. Whoever it was that would have been sitting aside of me in that moment would have received my rum cocktail. as I instructed them to say, hold my drink. I'll be right back. The Biden administration had been calling DeSantis. Well, I'll tell you that story in a second from 2 weeks ago. Had been calling him. Both Joe and Kamala have been calling him saying, what can we do? But Ron, I need heels on my boots. DeSantis was too cool for school and couldn't return their calls. So there sits all kinds of aid that's not getting anywhere. And he was here. This is the DeSantis part. I've not made it a secret, and I shall continue to not make it a secret. I am not a DeSantis fan. I'm not for anybody who takes an authoritarian approach in the mask of freedom. Keep Florida free was his campaign slogan. Now on the highways, get this. Welcome to the free state. Ron DeSantis, governor. I'll always give somebody a benefit of the doubt, to include that asshat. He is fascist, and I'm telling you that as a political scientist. He picks fights with Mickey Mouse and loses. He's got an entire political party filled with pedophiles. Just check the arrest records. But it's the drag queens. And he has this thing about children being in drag shows or at drag shows. I'm not talking about the drag queens that go to your school and read you a book and it's funny because, haha, that's a guy. No, I mean drag shows, kind of burlesque, gay, adult. Something that I will also agree kids probably don't need to be at. But remember that thing about when you banned all kinds of books under the guise of parental freedom? Shouldn't the parents have the freedom to make the decision if they're going to take their kid to a drag show or not? And as such, I fail to see how this is the problem of the drag performer or the bar or the patrons who are there trying to take in a Sunday brunch. So this guy, this Johnny guy, gets up and says about how you would have thought I don't remember. It was something along these lines. I'm paraphrasing to be clear and fair. But you would have thought it was something along the lines of the Biden administration is declaring war on us via social media because we said we were the first ones there. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you weren't some Queenie gay guy or sounding like one that needs all the attention because you were the first one there, you wouldn't have got that response. Maybe if you would have just said, hey, I'm here. You're not yet. What can we start doing till you get here and give us actual instruction? How can we help? Isn't that what a church does? This very evening, I had the chaplain of my county's fire department pull into my driveway. Said, hey, I heard you're alone and of no help. Can we help you with anything? So tonight and or tomorrow, I now know where there's a shelter close by where I can take both the dogs safely. And if there is a surge here, or if there is too much wind from the open area, none of us are going to get hurt. It is actually a safe shelter for us to be in. So they start talking trash about Joe, crazy Uncle Joe. I'm like, that's my guy. I know Joe Biden. And just 2 weeks ago, I had Governor DeSantis on a tour of this very property. And I put my foot on the wall, about 4 inches off the ground, and showed him this was Hurricane Idalia. Those were the floods that came through from Hurricane Idalia. I took him around the corner of my house to the wall between mine and Don and Nan next door, and I showed him the mud 4 feet off the ground. And I said, this is Hurricane Helene. This has been the worst hurricane to hit the Tampa Bay area. And late tomorrow night, we're going to get hit by one that's even worse. And this guy, Johnny, wants to essentially blame that. I got to get this other application set. Give me a second. This guy, Johnny, wants to blame it on the Biden administration. Almost there. Hang on, guys. I'm realizing I need to. There we go. So I jump in. I say, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, gang. Not happening. Not on my watch. Oh, no, I can't. It's not letting me do it. Maybe I'm banned. Maybe I get banned here too. There we go. Starting up, starting up. Yep, good. All right. So I'm not going to let this guy badmouth Joe Biden. And Joe Biden doesn't need my help. I get that. Joe Biden does not need my help. But let me bitch anyway. And so I did. And Uncle John, the owner of the room, tried to cut me off, which he did eventually. Well, if you're going to pull a stunt like that, how do you think Uncle Ross is going to react in my kraut temper? I don't stand for hypocrisy. And I certainly don't stand for the hypocrites who wrap themselves in the Constitution and claim to be for the First Amendment, and then go cutting someone else's free speech when we're all supposed to be equal. I know this room does not discuss politics. Then don't sit there cracking a joke about probably one of the best presidents in history. Whether you like the guy or not, he ain't here to be your friend. He's here to do a job. He's here to fix the shit sandwich that was the Trump administration. And he did it in less than 3 years. With one of the houses against him. That's how obvious it was there needed to be changes. So I spoke up and said, hey, I had Ron DeSantis touring my house, showing him the damage. And I've never made it a secret that I don't like the guy for the reasons I said earlier in the show. but he had started to grow on me. I'm got to be honest, and I will. On TV, it appears as though he's managing these emergencies effectively on TV. I gave him a tour of the property. I showed him, damage that was done to my dock and to the severe damage done to my neighbor's dock. I showed him, things that made it okay throughout the house and things that were damaged. And he went on to the next place, but not before saying, help is on the way. We'll get you ripped out, meaning, the walls that have to come out. We'll help get you rebuilt. We'll get you supplies. We'll get you whatever you need. And when he says supplies, I knew what he meant: water, food, clothing, things to start my life again. I have not seen anything from the state of Florida since the moment the governor left my property. Pasco County has been unbleepity bleep believable. I've been fed by them. I've been showered by them. I've done my laundry thanks to the assets that were received by the county, to include the fire department chaplain that arrived here earlier this evening. But I will not be quiet so you maggots can be comfortable. We are definitely at a crossroads. With everything that's just come out and made more public that I knew. I knew this 5 years ago. What he tried to do with January 6th, the phone calls even before that, they knew from day one, before, just like this time, just like right now, the Republicans knew. And when I say the Republicans, I mean MAGA. I don't mean Liz Cheney. I don't mean Adam Kinzinger. And literally the 300 other plus Republicans nationwide who have spoken out against this not asset. I'm hearing myself in my headphones today, and it's a little louder than normal. I'm going to be right back. I got to get a drink. Nice thing about having nice thing about your studio being in your garage now is that there's a refrigerator there too. Downside to having long hair is that you drink your hair when you drink your Dr. Pepper. So I had not seen Ron DeSantis or anything from the state of Florida since the moment he stepped off my property, walked back up the street, and got in front of TV cameras. That's what he does. While I thought he was good at rallying troops, which he is, he's not good at doing anything with them. They got to do it on their own. And that's why the different responses, one county to the next, is different one county to the next. Or it's because they share information. So I don't fight the battles that I can pick and choose like he does. And we're back to talking about John J. Wiley. I fight the battles that need to be fought. That's why I'm an independent living in rural Florida, in what used to be Trump country. I don't see that anymore, by the way. I'm going to try to get, yeah, there they are. And that brings me up to the next quote. I should have been sharing the screen on these. Damn it. I said that's going to do that. I don't want to do that. Hold on. Give me a second. Oh, okay, hopefully. I got to try to see what that looks like now. Yes, I can I? Hopefully, all you see on your screen is the quote that I was trying to share, plus the time and date, which is probably bad because I'm going to be using this episode all week. So I won't be quiet so you can be comfortable. That was one. I got to figure out how to get out of this. There we go. Then the other one. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Let me do that again so I don't screw it up. The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and philosopher. Everybody there, to include the lady that thinks she's my agent, and to her credit, was attempting to be some sort of peacemaker. But I went ballistic. I said some words we can't say on the radio. I'll say you that much. And I mean them. I lost everything. Yeah, I've got some of my studio stuff because I was smart enough to secure it. But that doesn't change the fact that I don't have any clothing, that I'm wearing the same shit for 2 weeks, that I haven't cooked a meal in my own kitchen in a month. And I won't for probably another 3. And oh, by the way, I canceled the insurance I had with USAA because my insurance company down here said it was redundant and unnecessary. Guess whose personal belongings aren't insured for a flood? Yeah, that was happy news. But here's Uncle John down in South Florida setting himself up for a pity party when he gets his ass kicked. And everybody in that call wanted to be on the side of the majority. We all wanted to mother F Joe Biden. But because we don't realize that we no longer have to spell Google to be able to use it, we can stick our head in the sand and just pretend that we're good conservatives instead of the ignorant ones that you are, and learn that your boy is the problem, not the solution. And I'm not talking about Biden. And believe it or not, I'm not even talking about Trump yet. I step up and fight the battles that needed to be fought. And so I got kicked out of that room with some guy, under some guys that I can come back later. Hey, Uncle John. I don't have a beep, right? Pretend to say the F word. But F you, dude. I don't need your room. I don't need your little circle jerk. I don't need your instruction when I can get it somewhere else from better people. I mean, it's dumbfounding. So I'm going to take a higher road. Still got open phone lines, sort of. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you about what that plan is. Not just evacuating because of we had a hurricane coming, but the higher road that I'm going to take and how I'm not going to be like the guy that was supposed to be my mentor. 99.1 WDJY, 1490 WWPR, and the Tan Talk Network throughout Tampa Bay, as well as the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. It's Yergs. You're going up the middle, and we'll be back right after this. Smell nasty. Do you want to freshen it up a little bit? Go to aromabypeter.com. Check out all of Peter's candles. It's what we burn here in Studio Yergs. I'm burning right now leather scented candle. That's right, leather scented. So go to aromabypeter.com/Yergs and check out his candles today.
I'm Jane Stahl, retired English teacher, and with my BFF, Susan Bebeck, we manage Studio B Fine Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. We showcase the art of hundreds of local artists, publish books of the poetry, prose, and art of local writers, offer classes, art parties, workshops, discussion groups, cater dinners. We've even hosted a wedding. And we're here to be the go-to place for friendship, learning, and fun in our community. Virtual tours of our exhibits are available right here on Yergs Radio. Let us introduce you to some amazing art and artists.
Check out Jane Stahl and everyone at Studio B in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Please visit our YouTube channel, Talk TV 24. How's your website doing? I'll tell you how mine's doing. It's awesome. Yergs.com is gotta be the best website for anybody in podcasting or any sort of broadcast solo journalist like me. How did I get that? Limit Break Digital. Limit Break Digital did my website with Yergs.com. They did YergerGroup.com. They take care of my marketing, my branding, and help me get the message out to you. Go to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs for 10% off your next project. That's a $3,000 site, Yergs.com. And you can get 10% off that by just going to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs today. Talk to Jay. That's my guy. We all got a guy, and Jay's mine. limitbreakdigital.com. Hey, gang. All right. That was that last commercial I cut off was. Yeah, thanks, Ray. A buddy of mine from high school is checking in. Did you recognize that one commercial? Not the one I did, but the one that lady did. Who's that lady? You know who that was? I'm Jane Stahl, co-host of Both Sides Now with Yergs. But yeah, I love Studio B, right on our main street in Boyertown. She does a great job with it. So I got to put the music on. We're doing a thing now. I'm doing live commercials. There we go. All right. Oh, good start with a belch and everything. Well done, Howard. Are you working out? I am again, finally. My fat ass is back in the gym. That's right. And I got momentum. Where? Momentum Fitness and Wellness in Jasmine Estates. Right on US 19. 24/7. That's what I've always liked about it. Back when it was Monster Mouse Fitness. Now Momentum Fitness and Wellness. And Wellness because they've got so many other things that they can offer you and do. plunge tank. Oh, we're going to call. Oh, I know who that is too. Oh, let's take it. Screw it. Let's take it. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello, Ross?
Yeah.
How you doing? It's Mark out here in Las Vegas. I just got your message. I'll return your call. I didn't know I was going to be on the air, but you want to call me back tomorrow?
I no idea where I'm going to be tomorrow, let alone if I'm even going to be alive.
Okay.
Milton's going to smack us around. Now let's. If you got any questions, hit me up now. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. You want me to call you from a different line? I didn't know you
No,
were on. Are we on the air live?
Yeah, that's. I'm doing a special edition because I've got to record this and just keep it in case I don't make it back for the air tomorrow. I'm on every day in Atlanta and Friday in Tampa also. So I just do this just in case with Milton coming through. This is going to be the second of 3 hurricanes in as many weeks. So,
Okay.
God only knows.
You just getting some recordings in.
I'm almost finished. Do you want me to call you back in like 10 minutes?
Yeah. Call me back in 10 minutes.
I'll call you on this 702 number that's coming up.
Yep. You can reach me there.
All right. Good enough. Thanks, Mark. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. Well, sorry for breaking in on the breaking on which I do for lost by the Momentum Fitness and Wellness. That was the station manager of KSHP in Las Vegas. Possible station. That's what we're going to find out. I should have. Oh, there's that.
Again, butter. Never. Okay, let's take a call. The number is
1-888-88 yours.
welcome to Coffee Talk. Cool, we'll talk. No big whoop. Wake up, goddammit.
That's it. I'm doing all these sound things in the middle of a commercial. President Obama, what do you got to say about that?
First of all, what? What?
All right, enough clowning around. So, Momentum Fitness and Wellness, right in Jasmine Estates, right on Route 19, by the Arby's. So you can even bulk up at the Arby's. I mean, how cool is that? Anyway, go in, talk to Anthony. He'll hook you up. He's hooked me up. I haven't been in there in a year and a half, and he's not forgotten who I am, and he won't forget you either. Momentum Fitness and Wellness. All right, back we got. What do we got? What time? How much do we have? Actually, I told him I looked at the clock. I should have looked at the timer. I got about 12 minutes left, but so our last one to finish telling you the story. He let me down. John J. Wiley, a supposed professional, who, if you look at his resume, he's done some stuff. I'm not going to lie about that. But what is he doing now? You know what I thought? It made me thought about? Through my umpiring career as a little leaguer, and I mean that, I started umpiring baseball at 12 years old. I could see respectable umpires who were the umpires of the day when I was even younger started to go backwards because they didn't self-evaluate, because they didn't get out when they were leading and were ahead, and they didn't see their own self-deterioration. Tonight, for the second time, sadly, that's what I saw in John Wiley. This was the second time in as many weeks that he threw somebody out of his room because they disagreed with him. And the one 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was something about marketing and how you look at this, that, or the other thing. And he said, this ain't a big deal. I'm paraphrasing the entire incident. You'll get the point. This lady politely speaks up, identifies herself as an expert in the industry. This is what I do. I'm good at it, by the way. With respect, you're wrong. I would like for you to reconsider your position and hear mine. Well, Uncle John's pussy hurt. He kicked her out of the room. Or he said, if you don't like it, you can leave. And she's like, I'm not going to sit here and listen to this. You're wrong. You're steering these people in the wrong direction. So she left. And I just sat there in that moment. I did stay silent so he could be comfortable. And I'm ashamed of myself. Tonight, I'm not doing it. And I'm going to play this episode all goddamn week if I can't make it on the air. And I'm going to tag you, John, so you get to listen to it. And I'm going to especially tag you in the moment at 48 minutes or whatever it was when the station manager of a big city station calls me and says, hey, call me back at 6 p.m. Pacific. So our third, and I'm doing all of these tonight. I usually only do one per show, but I'm doing all of them now just because Stephen J. My buddy Ray says, poor John. Yeah, Mrs. Stahl was the English teacher, Jane Stahl. She's a co-host of mine every Monday. When we're on the air, it's a 2-hour show. She is in the second hour. And we do a show together called Both Sides Now. It's a good time. Really good time. And we both identified that hour as therapeutic for both of us. It's a really good time. And my buddy says, poor John. I don't know if he's still a state trooper in Pennsylvania, or maybe he's retired as well. Enjoy it, man. When you're ready, go. But up next, Stephen J. Klubeck was the one guy, and there's probably been others since, but he was the first guy on the TV show Undercover Boss to be on twice. He's the founder of Diamond Resorts International, a timeshare company. And his quote was, be the role model that you would want for yourself. When I say that we're not going to talk politics in my room, we're not going to talk politics in my room, even if it's politics I agree with. And when someone presents a counterpoint that, I don't know, might be the truth, the actual truth, I'm going to let them have their piece, speak their piece, have their moment. I didn't have that role model today. And frankly, with the exception of me joining this room twice a week when I can, and I've got pretty good attendance, I don't mind saying, this guy's done nothing for me. I'm currently on 6 AM FM radio stations. 3 AM and 3 FM. I'm still echoing in my head. 3 AM and 3 FM. 1 5 days a week in Atlanta, where I've got between the the FM frequency and their internet broadcast, because it's also streamed, 27,000 listeners every day. Right now, I'm only on 1 day a week here in Tampa. But I'm on 5 stations that one day. And we're working on that. That's why I do such a good commercial ad spot for Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Because this message, that signal, and this story that I'm telling you will possibly air this Friday on all 5 of those stations. And that goes as far north as Brooksville and Silver Spring, up in Hernando County in the Nature Coast, and as far south as Sarasota. Shout out to another high school buddy of ours, Randy Schlushman, lives down there. And because of those 5 stations, everywhere in between, which, by the way, is another 30,000 people. So this Friday, this story is going to go to roughly 55, 56,000 people. Now, in radio, that's not a lot. And I'll admit it. Guy who I can't stand, Dan Bongino, has millions more than that. Well, I would think that if I left the Secret Service while on the president's detail and turned around and stabbed that president in the back by talking all kinds of crap on Fox News, I'd probably have millions of sheep too. But I'm not going to stay quiet so people like Dan Bongino can stay comfortable. And I'm not going to be, I got to pull up the Marcus Aurelius one, on the side of a majority when that majority is nothing but sheep. And so now I'm going to be the role model that I wish I had, because I don't. I don't have that leadership. I mean, I am that leadership. But that leadership ain't here. Well, it is now. I'm told, I think Sportcat checked in. See what I got here. Yeah. Shout out to Glenn Sportcat Jackson up there in Atlanta. Speaking of Atlanta, Evening News shows Biden talking to DeSantis. And then he had a conference with all emergency agencies. Biden said he gave the governor his personal cell phone. I could have done that. Okay, I'm kidding. I couldn't, but you get the point. Tankers of fuel are on their way from Georgia, according to local. But the traffic is apparently horrible. Yeah, you think? And I'm not busting Sportcat's balls. But point being, that is fuel that should have been here. Based on what you said, DeSantis, that's not going to happen again. Guy's like a bobblehead doll. His head can't sit still. I wish you had a camera on me right now. Ugh. So tomorrow, let's wrap up. Wednesday evening. And if you get this episode later in the week, check back on Jurg's Radio or on Sportcat social media. He's got 2 great authors, a firefighter recovering from PTSD, then a furry author. Oh, God. I can only imagine what that means. That's Wednesday at 9 p.m. Jurg's Radio, YERGZ radio.com, or wherever you get your internet radio. Check out Glenn, Sportcat Jackson, and the crew. Also, check them out 9 p.m. Saturday for the Misfits. It's kind of like think about Howard Stern sitting around with his whack pack. That's Glenn and the Misfits. And then he's got a Friday show too. I don't know if he still does that though, so I'm not going to say anything about it. Also, check his schedule. Go to Glenn. Text me. What is the best place for him to find out more about you besides what we have in the directory on Yerg's Radio? You got more stuff that's not all with us, so I'm going to plug that as well. Best place is probably YouTube or social media. Or if you just check in, he'll tell you tomorrow night at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on Yerg's Radio. All right, gang, that's everything. I think I did my 60 minutes. And yeah, so I don't know what my schedule is going to be. I'm recording this for you all Tuesday evening as I'm preparing to learn more about Hurricane Milton and what it is or is not going to do to us here in some music in the background here in the Nature Coast and Tampa Bay area. But I will be preserving as much as possible, even if I got to take it with me. You can get me news, NEWZ, at Yergz, YERGZ.com. You can call us again, 1-888-88-YERGZ, when we're on again next. I don't know when that's going to be. Hopefully tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. I got to call that guy back. Thanks for listening. You've been up the middle.